We are live. Welcome back. Episode 4 Inside the Factory. We got one of the first coaches to be on board, a fellow 2015 college grad, somebody I played against a couple times when he was at both Georgetown and Ohio State. Coach Chris May recently was running things for us in Chicago for quite a bit. Just moved back, to be closer to home in Virginia. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Man, good to see you. Good to be here.
Background, how long have you been at Face Off Factory, and what's the story on how you got involved?
I think since 2017 or 2018, but funny story, I was living in Chicago playing for the Atlanta Blaze, and we had just played Joe, at the Boston Cannons, one of those like hot summer games. And
oh yeah,
we got crushed. We were an expansion team. I think I had to walk myself out to the X like 25 times, and we had a long day. But you came up to me after the game, and I'd never met you. I thought, maybe you're going to give me a hard time, bust my chops, and you were like, "Hey, man, great game. Where do you live? What's your story? Do you want to coach?" And it kind of started like that. So we got to know each other and became buddies, and you were so flexible with my schedule, and in Chicago you were committed to finding a way to make it work. So we started looking at fields, and long time on the phone. I finally got my way to overnight camp, and kind of after that the rest is history.
How many? I mean, you've probably been at camp now like 6-7 years.
I think I'm coming up on 9 or 10.
9 or 10, yeah. So Coach May's been involved from the very start. He's, a regular at most of our national events. He's done Best of the West. He's done Winter War. He actually has recently, fostered a great group. The Midwest guys have been top 3 the last 2 years. He's run point on that team and coached a lot of those guys over the past couple of years. So it's really cool to see all those guys get older, get better, kind of be in the space where they're in the recruiting age now, and they're competing with kids that are, we think are pretty good from the East Coast.
Midwest is great. Yeah. I mean, it's, you run into challenges because it's so spread out. I mean,
yeah,
you have Chicago, Cleveland, Minnesota, Wisconsin, it's all really spread out, but there's some really good players and really good kids who keep in touch with each other and are committed to being great. So it's a good job. I mean, we had a great showing at Winter War. A lot of good kids out of that Midwest region. So.
Yeah, we'll see if they can take the title next year. It's going to be another good battle, I think.
See.
Yeah, we will. Favorite events and just any, what's your favorite story?
I love the Towson overnight camp. It's my favorite. I think it's the best camp because it's unique because it focuses on a lot of instruction. We're not recruiting or evaluating, we are evaluating kids, but it's just training. We want them to get better. We want them to try new things. We want them to be uncomfortable. And it's not a camp where you just do your bread and butter to try and win as many draws. You're trying to be well-rounded. So, we have a great staff. I love how we always have, huge numbers of the staff. Kids can learn and ask questions. You got older staff members, young kids who are in college. But favorite memory, I think, when we first started, we didn't have as many kids as we do now, but we were in the stadium at Johnny Unitas, which was really cool for the kids. And that night 2 competition, when the coaches were a little younger and a little more in the game. Yeah, we would compete against each other. So our players would go against each other. We would draft teams, and then the coaches would compete, and it was a big thing. Kids loved it, and it was a lot of fun. And I think my team, I won 2 summers in a row, and I've lost that. I've lost that top spot in the last few years, but it's always fun. The night 2 competition is great.
Yeah, and you and I have been on a team together where we've won. We did used to do it where if there was a tiebreaker, we'd make the coaches battle it out. The coaches would be hopping in our rows and getting reps for the other staff member while things were going on. So that was pretty neat. I don't know if it'll be something we bring back, but maybe with some of these young bucks coaching, it would be a cool feature to add to things. I remember when we did have, it might have been one of the last times we faced off at Towson. We were at Burdick Fields when Derek pulled the upset on PD. I think it ruined PD's whole week.
Yeah. Long hair Derek with who could forget?
I think he lost the clamp and like grabbed his stick or something and picked up the ground ball, and we didn't call it.
Cheater.
Yeah. Really fun stuff, though. What are you pumped about the most kind of on the Face-Off Factory docket with you? I know you just recently started doing stuff in Virginia. You've been doing Richmond a little bit. I know we've been thinking about weekly sessions. What could our kids look forward to with Coach May?
So we're getting it going here in the DMV area. We've got Richmond pretty regularly. We've been doing a field location, Potomac, Maryland. So that's pretty accessible for DC and Montgomery County kids and Fairfax County kids. So we're looking to go back there. Looking to have Derek, Coach Cougar, come down in June and do a big clinic on a summer day. I think that'd be great. Get a lot of kids. You don't have to worry about competing with tournaments and weekend stuff. And yeah, I'll be at overnight. I'm excited for that. I'll be at overnight camp at Towson, and then the Face-Off Summit, I think, is in Philly this year. So looking forward to that. And just on a company-wide front, we have so many more overnight camps we're offering. So I think it's a really great opportunity for kids in different regions, different schedules. They'll be able to go. I know we have Denver and I think San Diego and upstate New York too. So really awesome. Just giving kids opportunities to get better. And it's really unique. I feel like kids are tournaments and playing, and they're not really learning. They're kind of just playing. And I think they can develop bad habits in a lot of those settings. So
100%. I mean, the best clubs in high school still put a ton of emphasis on development and skill work, but I agree, kids are playing a lot of games, and a lot of times practice goes by the wayside when that's the case. And I think that's a cool aspect. Like you said, we're not always like evaluating at our camps. I mean, we're evaluating the good things, so when we do get to be an advocate for you guys, we can help say the right things about your game, like knowing kind of where you stand realistically. But yeah, it's super focused on instruction, which I think is just such a cool piece. And as you know, like as you get older and you get to college and even pro, like you're no longer worried about just playing games. Like you're only focused on instruction, development, and trying to sharpen your skills. So I think that's something that like people forget when you do get to the next level. Like it totally shifts into just trying to be the best version of yourself at all times.
yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
What suggestions do you have for the students and parents listening just to help them get to the next level? You're somebody who not only played at a high level like academic school in Georgetown, but obviously very like historic lacrosse program, and then got to do a grad year at Ohio State as well as made it to the pros. Like, what would you give these guys as a piece of advice or a couple pieces?
My first piece of advice, for parents in the summer circuit is try not to overbook your kid and get them too burnt out. I know we play a lot, and these kids, they come to development days and they just want to go live for 2 hours. And I think you need to mix in instruction and also time off. I mean, I think kids really benefit from training on their own, training in their communities with their, maybe at their high school or, for training for their fall sport. So you don't want to be playing too much where it stops being fun. But when it comes to advice, I mean, I think kids have so many more resources now than we did, Joe. Like, yeah, I mean, now they can just like go on YouTube or Instagram and they can find stuff about nutrition or training or recovery. Like, but my advice that I feel like is kind of, timeless is set goals for yourself, write them down on paper, set some realistic goals, set some high lofty goals, and then be intentional with everything you do. Like if you're going to go out for, shooting or hitting the wall, are you wearing sandals or are you wearing sneakers and lacing them up? Like try to get something out of everything that you do. And I think practice on your own. A lot of kids, they play so much that they in between camps and practices, like club practices, they're not training. Like, get better in between those things. Like when you're at home on the weekends, whatever, on your carpet, just taking, I mean, I'm sure we've probably taken so many reps on carpeted basements. Like, you just got to find time to get better. So
yeah, and the kids that we always see be successful are the ones like who not only spend a lot of time with us, but they probably practice more than 2 or 3 other high achievers combined, right? Like they are putting in hours on their own, and that's how you become a master at your craft. So I think that's great advice. On the personal side of things, like where are you from? How'd you get involved in lacrosse? What was your first time playing, and kind of what brought you to Georgetown and then Ohio State?
So yeah, I am from McLean, Virginia, which is right outside Washington, D.C. And my dad is from Northeast Ohio. My mom's from Nicaragua. They settled in D.C. and they didn't know anything about lacrosse. They just kind of knew that kids in my community were playing. So I started at 3rd grade. I went to a local clinic in my town, and I played everything, man. I played attack, midfield, defense. I played attack. Like once I started like really, finding my way, I was shooting. I broke windows in my house, my neighbor's house. And I went to Gonzaga High School, Catholic all boys school in DC. And my parents pushed me to go there because it had a really good education and really good experience, right in the middle of Washington, D.C. And but I didn't really face off. Like I was lucky enough to make the team as a freshman, make varsity, and I didn't sniff the field. But I saw that we had 2 seniors facing off, and I was like, the only way I'm going to play is if I find a way to get on. And if there were like LSMs who were seniors, I probably would have been an LSM. I just was looking at the easiest way to get on the field. So, that's really the story of how I started. So I'm grateful that I have that like background of playing everything. And even in high school, I played midfield. I played first line midfielder as a senior. And it really kind of in the era when it wasn't super specialized when we started. I mean, we're the same age, so.
Yeah, and I similar for me. Like I was a midfielder in high school. Like I was lucky enough to get a spot at Rutgers. I think I was the last kid who committed in my class, just as a midi. My first 2 games, I was playing defensive midfield and like taking limited runs, and that was how I found a way to get on the field. And then it became, my coach kind of funneled me towards facing off as that spot opened up and was something that the team needed, and he felt like I could be good at, and that's kind of how I got involved. And I think it's a great testament. Like most of the time, the face-off guys are the ones who are doing the dirty work. A lot of you guys listening are choosing to be face-off guys. So if it's your choice to take on this position, you need to be willing to do anything you possibly can when you're on the field to help the team. And a lot of times that's some of the tough stuff that, people shy away from.
And what I liked about facing off is it's like in the backyard, every kid wants to be quarterback, right? Because you get to get yourself the ball. I was like, if I face off, I can almost, if I'm having a good day, guarantee that I'm getting myself the ball, I was in control of my touches, So, something really drew me to it, and ended up working out okay for us. So.
Yeah, and I gotta ask because when Chris played at Georgetown, they had this really good kid who was a little older than both of us. His name was Tyler Nari. He faced off with the pole, but he wasn't like the pole who would just like stand up and rake. Like he was straight up pinch and pop, had really good hands. I think it was my sophomore or junior year. I was top 5 in the country. Him and I played one of the last games of the season. I probably would have been an All-American if I had gone over 50%, and he absolutely dusted me. And another time we played, we were 50-50, but I felt like every time I got the ball, he was just on me. How annoying was it going against somebody like that in practice, and how much better do you think you got because of that?
Eleanor was really good, and he was also really unique. Like a tall, kind of skinny guy with like with the pole, obviously. Like, and he faced off like with pinch and pop. He wasn't, you know, raking and throwing checks and throwing counters. He like faced off in a very offensive way. And yeah, I mean, it was tough. It got me better because I was constantly going against him, but it also kind of taught me a lot because I had some games where I started and then, you know, didn't have good days. Just, you know, a little bit of adversity came my way that way. But I mean, Tyler was a great teammate, really supportive guy, and really helped me. So by the time I got to Ohio State, I had seen like a completely different face-off guy so often that a lot of guys weren't used to seeing. So it kind of, I don't know, kind of helped me go against those really quick plunger guys. I mean, but yeah, no, he had a great run, man. He was a good player.
Yeah, and Chris and I played the very first year of the Big Ten, and I think our conference was like like every team had a top 25 face-off guy, you know, and like just talk about what it was like competing. And I mean, Ohio State, you guys played a great out-of-conference schedule too. Like every game was probably a battle. Like, how did you prepare on a weekly basis to go against like a different animal and who you were going to see, and like how did you make adjustments to try to stay ahead of the curve?
I went to Georgetown. I graduated, and I had an injury year that I was able to go to Ohio State for my 5th year, which was honestly a dream come true. My dad's from Ohio. I grew up an Ohio State Buckeyes fan. Like, I remember staying up late to watch them beat Miami in that national championship game. So it was amazing. Like, but yeah, it was a gauntlet, man. I mean, that Big Ten, that was the first year of the Big Ten. I mean, so many good guys. I mean, you were in the conference. I remember Rafa and Garino at Maryland. I mean, Michigan had a kid who was top 20. Gosh, I'm missing somebody else, aren't I? The Penn State kid was legit. Hopkins had really good kids. And
yeah,
I think a lot of it was just, you know, trust of preparation and face off as a unit. I think your Rutgers team did a really good job of that. If the ball went into space, I mean, you had guys that were really good off the ground, but those games and those weeks of practice is really embracing the challenge. I mean, it's a great opportunity. You can't go into a game like thinking you're going to lose. I mean, you got to go in with confidence and stick to your guns and trust it. And if you're not, you know, doing well that game, have the confidence to switch it up and do something else, because it's a long game and it's a game of runs. Like, you know, I think there are plenty of games where I had 2 or 3 losses in a row, maybe in the 4th quarter, and then you finish strong and you turn the tide of the game and control the ball. So, yeah, preparation was a big part of it, and just having confidence. I mean, it was fun, man. Those are the games you want to go against. You play college lacrosse to go against those guys. You know, in the summers when you're hanging out, you want to talk about the games how you did versus those guys, not the ones where, you know, they're throwing D middies at you and you're just kind of make it take it, you know?
Yeah. Like TD getting to go against long poles for half his career because everyone was scared to clamp against him.
Yeah. Don't be scared. I mean, TD was, you know,
on another level. Yeah.
He was another level, but yeah, coaches, don't be scared to tell your kid to stick to his guns and adjust if you need to, but go best on best, man.
I completely agree. And I think that's something that I've carried forward to the pros. Like, you can't hide in any game at the pro level. So like, it just really prepares you. And I think I wish they had face-off zone back then, because I think one thing that was like kind of cool about when we were in college is like, you know, some guys were knee down moto, some guys were standing up, some guys were neutral grip, and you would just see a lot of different styles and guys do different moves. Like, it wasn't as clamp dominant as it is now, I feel like. And I felt like there's, you know, was a lot more ground ball play. And Chris and I also played in the era where you could keep the ball in the back of your stick for like our first 2 or 3 years of college, which was like wild.
I had a rule change 3 times in college because I graduated on an even year, 2010, and they changed every odd year. So I had a rule change after my sophomore year. No, we had it before my 5th year at Ohio State, before I think it was before my junior year, right? And then
after your freshman.
before my freshman year or something, yeah, with the head specs and then the tape on the stick and then the no carry in the back and then the physical set where they put the ball down. But man, I remember like going on Google or going on teams like pictures, like and seeing what kind of head these kids use.
Yeah.
I was like zooming in to try and see what head the kid was using because the film was far and like you didn't know what they were using. Like kids were using way the array of heads guys were using was way different back then. Now it's like you're probably going to go into one of three heads, but yeah, we're looking for every advantage we could get, man. Different
What head
times.
were you using back then?
Man, at Georgetown, I used a brine clutch. Remember, I think Rafa and Fowler used that. That was kind of like the pretty popular in that early 2010s. And then I used the Professor at Ohio State, the STX one, but it broke too much, man.
They were stiff and brittle, but they were nice.
Yeah.
They were like nice, narrow, and long.
Yeah, and then finally my boy, Tae-Young Kim at Ohio State, kid out of Columbus, Ohio, face-off teammate of mine, he convinced me to go to the CEO, the original CEO. So I used that at Ohio State down the stretch, and I was pretty successful with that, I think. It was, but yeah, man. I had to use the stick by the provider. Like I couldn't go rogue with a different brand, couldn't go use a Warrior or something else. Like they were pretty strict back then. I feel like now they get more wiggle room to use their
yeah. And like kids listening, like you guys probably see the brine clutch today and would never think to use that for facing off. It actually was pretty serviceable. It did bend a fair amount and like get warped and not return to shape like the heads you guys are lucky to use today. I used to use the Evo X6, which was similar to the Professor. It was like long and narrow, but the spine was very thin, so it would always break and rattle, and that would bug the crap out of me.
I used that too. I remember using that. Yeah,
those were nice, and I ended up switching to the Warrior Nas because it was like pretty beefy around the throat, and we could grab the plastic back then. So even though it had like a long throat, like that was still a good head, really good for ground balls. I liked those a lot, and then like I ended up switching to the CEO my senior year, and I liked that a lot too. It was by far the best head I had used for clamping.
Yeah, I was begging my coach at Ohio State if I could use the Nas, and it wasn't. But the CEO was great, and yeah, the X6 a little clunky, but you got to work them in, man. I would bake them and boil them and figure stuff out. But yeah, it was fun, man. These kids now, they got a lot of good.
They have no idea.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I know they can use the sticks out of the box now. Like I feel like I've been grabbing a lot of the new like exit heads from STX and like using them right away and breaking them in a day. Like that was never the case. I was dyeing my heads, trying to boil them, like all the little tricks of the trade. And it was always trial and error. Like you never kind of knew how it was going to totally work out. But those are some fun facts that you guys, I think if you go back and watch some games from the archives, you'd be like, what heads are these dudes using?
Yeah, different times, man.
Yeah, different times. Suggestions for helping parents get their kids to the next level. Like, what have you seen just be successful in kids you've coached?
Man, I think
different times.
Parents, just don't.
Suggestions for helping parents get their kids.
Don't put too much emphasis on like what club team they play for or like the best club. Like I feel like a lot of parents are so worried about club tryouts. It's like a really stressful time, and I think as long as you're playing ball, man, and like playing all over the field, like in the summer and working on your stick, I think it's going to pay off. I mean, I'd rather be getting a ton of runs on a team at tournaments and being on a club where you're switching face-offs or getting just like half a game you play. Like, but yeah. And then I think also just talking to other college coaches is I think you definitely need to have an emphasis on being well-rounded, being a good guy, having good grades, because they always ask what your grades are. They want a kid that they can. I tell all my Midwest guys, like, you got to make it easy on them to get you into school, right? If they have to jump through hoops, they might not take it. Who knows? Who knows how it's going to work out? So, control what you can control and make yourself as well-rounded and saleable to the admissions program as you can.
Yeah, I agree. And I had somebody, bummed out freshman, didn't make varsity this year. And I'm like, dude, you would have been sitting behind somebody who's really good anyway and not getting a ton of game reps. Like, bro, be a midi on JV, take all the face-offs and play the entire game. Like, from a development standpoint, you're going to get so much more out of that than getting to practice against a varsity guy.
No, exactly. I mean, it's like now the way the game is evolved, and hopefully they don't touch it, but face-off, the scoring is up. Like the fast breaks are up. Like, you need to be able to handle the ball, like left hand, right hand, be comfortable with your stick. I mean, you need to be able to be a threat with the ball, and it just opens up your coach's playbook if you have a better lacrosse IQ. Like, it's not even like that's what I think. I think the pandemic really hurt a lot of kids because they were just facing off against each other. They didn't really play overall field. And like, if you have a face-off guy who can, do some stuff in substitution, set picks, get their other face-off guys stuck, run kind of set plays off a violation, like, you're business, man. Your coach is going to love that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's something we were lucky enough to do at Rutgers, and my coach trusted us to do. And, we played there was one game, we scored I think I had 5 points, like 2 goals and 3 assists off fast breaks, set plays, picks, violation plays. Like, that's when it gets really fun, not only for you, but your teammates. So that's some great advice. What are some fun facts that the people may not know about you?
Ooh, so I got married in October and moved from Chicago to Virginia. So that's new for me. It's been great. It's been great being married and being back close to home, close to family. Fun fact, we have traveled a little bit. I went to Ecuador in 2023. We went to Spain. We went to the Philippines. So international trips been increasing lately. So it's been fun. It's cool I know you've been to Japan, Joe, and Colombia and stuff. And it's just cool to go out and see the world. It's really a unique thing that I'm grateful for. So.
Yeah, it certainly gives you a totally different perspective on how fortunate we are here, and a lot of people lose sight of that. So I would highly recommend it. Also, we did talk about in one of the past episodes, getting to go to Japan and coach lacrosse over there was unbelievable and kind of an insane experience. One of my boys who was a manager on the team at Rutgers was a foreign exchange student. He ended up working at Google in Japan and got me in the HQ there, and we're overlooking Tokyo, and got to see their work set up and the cafes in there and the nap pods. It was totally crazy. But when I was on the field, this kid who was helping me coach was translating for me to all the Japanese students while I was coaching in English, which I thought was wild. But the kids got a lot out of it. It was really fun. I think Japan's totally on the rise lacrosse wise, and that was almost 10 years ago now.
Yeah, no, I'd love to go to Japan. We had a layover there, so at least I know I can do it. I can get that far. I was always nervous about flight times, but it's no big deal, man. You just kind of relax, watch a few movies, you're there. It's no big deal.
Yeah, it's deep though. It definitely is deep. You got to have a good book or be into watching movies or tire yourself out and get to sleep for a good amount of the time, but it's certainly far. What are some of your hobbies outside of lacrosse and traveling?
So I still an active guy. I mean, I love working out. I have a 5K this weekend. I've been playing some basketball here nearby, just trying to stay active. That's always something I've enjoyed is competing and moving around. But we have 2 dogs, 2 60-pound lab mutts, and walking them, cooking, eating, hanging out with my family. It's yeah, I think there's not much more to me, man.
Yeah, no, simple guy. I like it though. I like it.
Yeah.
And then what's best leadership book, movie, any good quotes?
One book I read that, and it's actually a movie too, that I really enjoyed was The Lone Survivor. I know a lot of guys are familiar with that based on the movie and the story, but um, it's kind of special to me because the commander, Eric Christensen, lieutenant commander, was a alumnus of my high school, Gonzaga High School in DC. And when they went to go attempt to rescue these guys, like I remember in the movie, Mark Wahlberg, and they're all
Yeah.
stranded down there. So I guess as lieutenant commander, being in charge, there's no obligation for him to go on the rescue mission. But I guess it just showed leadership, and he was like, those are my guys. I got to go get my guys. So that was something that one of my high school lacrosse coaches was classmates with Eric Christensen, and he's told that story to the team since I was a freshman, and it's really really special, really powerful, and it kind of motivated us in high school, and I've kind of kept that with me. And yeah, otherwise, like, I love Kobe Bryant. I've been listening to a lot of stuff. There was this article. You read Players Tribune ever?
No, I've seen it though.
There was an article where Kobe is missing like a ton of shots in warm up, and this guy who's going to play against him is watching. He's like, "What's going on?" And he goes up to Kobe to kind of exchange pleasantries before the game. He's like, "What's going on?" Because he has the staff, the facility staff, coming out measuring the hoop, and he goes, "It's off, quarter of an inch." He's like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, the rim's off by a quarter of an inch." Sure enough, they measure it, and it's off by a quarter of an inch. It just kind of, I just love how, prepared and dialed in you are with your preparation, that you can even have that much attention to detail. I always thought that was so badass. So I love stuff like that, like athlete stories, Michael Jordan, Kobe, Allen Iverson, Tom Brady. I love that stuff.
Yeah, and I would highly recommend any of you guys who are like movie buffs, like instead of watching junk, watch more sports films, right? Like 30 for 30. It's pretty neat to see all these guys master their craft and how they go about their business. And I think that's something that can help young athletes immensely. And I feel like it's, every time I watch something like that, I have a takeaway too, that I feel like I could continue to add to what I'm doing, whether it's coaching, playing, whatever.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and then development-wise, favorite drill. What do you think has been super effective in your coaching? Anything that you do every single time you're on the field? What's something that people can take away?
So I make kids at my sessions start with, I call it ball skills, because the ball's on the ground. Like, I think stick skills are when you're catching and passing, but like getting in, standing up and redirecting the ball twice, like two gooses to kind of pull the ball away and then pick it up. I think when you watch college lacrosse now and pro lacrosse, I mean, the ball is on the turf so often. Like, there's very few clean pinch pop catch. So being good off the ground, like redirecting the ball, running through it. I think counters are great, but so definitely practice your counters, practice your second move, so that when you do run into a situation where you're not having a good day, you have confidence in your second move. I think a lot of kids, they work on their bread and butter, and they're not like confident in their second move, where it's like, "Hey, try your rake." It's like, I'm not ready for the rake. It's like, you got to be ready. And then the last thing is, we see it all the time, Joe, like especially when you're facing off and you're in the gym, but when the ball moves, the kid who lost the clamp kind of just watches it and focus on the next rep. It's like, you have to get good at losing, which sounds silly, but you need to be able to practice taking a drop step and getting in the guy's hip, because the higher level you play at, you're not always going to get clean wins, and you got to be able to steal face-offs, right? Even if they clamp and redirect the ball, you got to find a way to get it. So getting in body position, practicing that stuff, I think is really important.
Huge, right? Huge.
Yeah.
It's such a prevalent part of where the game's at today. And then what's some important things guys can be doing when they practice on their own? Like, what would you suggest? which should be top of the priority list.
I think you should definitely spend time hitting the wall and shooting. I think that's so important. Right hand, left handed, have some competency and comfort with your stick, just so you can just carry with confidence with both hands. Another thing, I think just on your own, not something you need a partner for, but hearing whistles. I remember you, Joe, after one of our camps or something, you said, you asked the kids, like, if you take 20 face-offs a day for a week and you get weekends off, how many additional face-offs is that? And they were all, doing the math in their head. But if you have 100 more reps every week, so just hearing whistles, and it doesn't take that much time to take 10 minutes of whistles is probably just in your
more than 20 reps.
Yeah, it's like if you're just hearing whistles and reacting, it's going to help you out. I mean, I like to, tell kids to do drills on your own that you don't need a partner for, just dummy clamps against nobody.
Yeah. And even 100 reps a week, right? You're at 1,000 in less than 3 months, right? Like if you told me you practice anything 1,000 times, you're going to be getting a lot better, a lot quicker.
Yeah. And I tell my kids, like, we start a lot of our sessions with dummy clamps, but the opponent doesn't move. He's straight up and down. And I do this so that they can just get reps of just smoking somebody. Get good at that way. You're confident when you approach a face-off. You're like, this guy's not moving. You get comfortable feeling like a winner. It gets you, kind of dials you in for lives. If you're take 10 in a row and you win them all, like, it feels good. So I like that part too. So
I like that. Yeah. How can coaches structure practice to promote like development with their face-off guys?
This is a great question. And I think you're probably going to get a lot of different answers, but I say make them play in the field. Like, make that, like, don't just banish them off to the side and make them like hang out together. Like, if that was lacrosse for me, just hanging out in the corner with two other guys, like taking half clamps, lacrosse would be so boring. Like, make them play. Don't just make them be like, and then make them play offense, defense, like fast break drills, but also practice out of the face-off. Like we mentioned earlier, like practice plays off of a violation, substitution, picks. Get your face-off guy in the pick game, or your long stick midi. Get them in the pick game. Practice going up and down, 3-on-2, things like that. And if your face-off guy has a high lacrosse IQ, it's going to open up what you can do, like, just immensely. So I feel like a lot of times high school teams will practice riding and clearing, but never like out of the X, where you got a guy who wants to get off, like, make him stay on and clear. Make sure he knows all the concepts. It's like Joe, when you were at Rutgers, I mean, you did everything but drive the bus. You probably did that too. But like clear, push transition, run back, play defense, pick, substitute. Like, they got to know that stuff. It's just going to help you play. It's going to help you help your team.
It sounds so simple, and there's so many teams that don't do it, but I completely agree. I think full field face-off scrimmage where you play shortened shot clock is great. Like having the kids do their face-off work, during special teams like man up, man down, or before and after practice. But we had Casey on, and he made such a good point. He's like, we've taken almost 500 face-offs this year. We've been like man up, I don't know, 20 times throughout the course of a season. He's like, so why do teams practice man up and man down for 30 minutes every day, but they're not going to do a face-off scrimmage? Like, it doesn't make sense proportionally in like what you're seeing in the game. And I was like, that's such a good point, a good way to think about it. Like, you're facing off, 20 plus times in most of these college games. You've got to be devoting that proportionate share to your practice.
Yeah, and make your face-off guys shoot. Make them shoot on the run. Make them shoot lefty. Make them learn how to, stretch a double team and throw back. Like, let them play ball, because if they like these situations arise in a game. I mean, I remember last year Luke Weirman took a kid behind like at X and dodged from X and scored. Like, these kids, they're gonna like a lot of these goals that face-off guys score now aren't always true fast breaks. There are a lot of broken plays. There are a lot of guys like wing dodges got caught on defense. Like there's so much more scoring in lacrosse now. It's not always 6-on-6. Like when we played, now they're scoring in transition and the shot clock, you get the ball back. Like it's more liberty to take chances. So yeah, make them play.
I totally agree. And whoever Maryland played where Weirman took him behind, I doubt they had practiced. Like, what do we do when the face guy gets caught at X, right?
Yeah. Does this guy know where to recover? Do we slide to him? Like it's great stuff. I mean, I think LaSalle at Virginia did a great job of mixing it up, wing dodges, going to X. I mean, just defenses aren't used to that look, and especially face-off guys aren't used to getting pulled behind. I'd be crapping my pants if somebody, took me on a long dodge through X, just because you don't know where you're sliding to, recovering to. Like this stuff takes practice.
Yeah, right. And like, at Rutgers and even on the whips, like we have a separate package for invert defense. And like, I'm well aware of what I need to do when I get caught in that situation. Because like, Coach Brecht was this way and Coach Staggs really is this way, that like, you need to be playing defense against the number 1 middies when we're in practice and I'm getting dodged all the time. Right. That's how you get better.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, film tips. What do you suggest when guys are watching film? Like, what's one takeaway that you think can help them elevate their study game?
I like to look at. I think you touched on it with TD, but like, where they exit, do they have tendencies? Do they ever mix it up? But I also like to look at their wings. Like, do they just leave guys open? Are their wings offense personnel or defense? Are they strictly face-off personnel? Like, get a feel for who's who, how many reps they take, if they, what tendencies they do. Like, if they lose, do they run off, or do they want to stay on, or do they only stay on if they win? And do they not like playing defense? Like things like that. Like when I was a high school coach at New Trier in Illinois, I wouldn't just watch the face-off until possession. I would watch it out to see if they did any sort of substitutions or play out of it. Are they subbing all 3 guys off? Like, so just, I advise kids to look at the exits and tendencies, see the personnel. Oh, if they counter, some guys have their favorite counter, see if they only do one thing. Like maybe if you get in trouble, there's an open spot. Like, and I think the wing stuff's important. I think a lot of guys kind of throw free ones to their wings because you're not on the same page. So work with your wings and see if their wings have any tendencies.
Yeah, and a lot of those details are often overlooked. It can certainly give you an edge in especially tight games. So that's something I would highly recommend and suggest as well. Shifting gears to college lacrosse. Who do you think, after watching some ball this year, are some of the toughest units in D1?
This is a great question. I really like, not to be a homer, but I like Ohio State's kid Oldman, and I like what they do because their wings, they move around a lot before the face-off, which I think is cool. But I really like guys like Coletti at Army and Lynch at Notre Dame and Oldman at Ohio State, because I feel like if you told these kids like, hey, you can't clamp this whole game, they'd be like, oh, no problem. Like, they are so versatile. They're good at clamping, but they're great off the ground. They're great at moving the ball upfield, great vision. And they're good at countering, but they're also really good at being disruptive. Like, if you were to win one, they're really good at getting in the body, forcing turnovers. You feel like when you watch those guys, they don't care about numbers. They just kind of care about possessions, wins, mixing it up. Just I love watching those three guys. And then shout out to Casey Dowd at Prince. I know their numbers are a little down this year, but I loved watching McMeekin last year, just being such a threat with the ball. I mean, give me a break. Like, if you can pull up from 14 and shoot, like, it's just awesome. Like the sixth grade attackman in me, like, just love seeing that, being a threat with the ball and scoring. And, you know, I love when poles get involved or hit the trailer and the shorty gets a goal. It's love watching that stuff. So.
Yeah, those three guys are great watches, honestly. And I do agree. Like, I think Princeton does a really good job playing in transition and putting pressure on other teams. They scrap off the ground. Like, they care about possession. And like you said, if you told those guys they couldn't clamp, I bet you they're still over 50%, which is wild to think about, but a huge testament to being versatile and being able to play with the ball. What do you think biggest differences were being at like a Big East school versus a Big Ten school, if any?
So at the time, I attended Ohio State 2014 and 15. So I played there for one season, and they just had so many resources for athletes that smaller schools like Georgetown just don't have. I mean, Georgetown, they now have updated their facilities, but Ohio State, it's a school that has resources for athletes, and they really supported their athletes. You know, help you with, if you have classes like you need selecting, or if you have conflicts, or you need help getting like textbooks. It was just a really cool experience. And I think I was able to appreciate that, because Georgetown is a very small, like walkable campus. Like, everything is kind of nearby, where Ohio State's spread out. It's kind of like a city, but it still feels small. You have a great sense of community with your team. So many good resources. It was, not going to lie, is the gym rat in me loved working out at the football weight room at Ohio State. That was pretty cool. So they do a great job supporting their athletes, getting their resources, and, you know, film with I'm sure all teams do this now, but like when I was at Ohio State, we got iPads for film. We were able to get like nutrition, like we had like food, and they've obviously like,
taking it even up a notch.
Yeah. Like we were pumped to get like Cliff Bars and stuff, but like just the fact that we were getting it was pretty awesome. But yeah, man, it's just a really great program, and cares about their athletes, and you know, even the teachers were like, they thought it was really cool if they had an athlete, they'd be like, oh, cool. Like, I gotta, you know, if you have to miss for a game, they were like, oh, cool, good luck. You know, it's just a really special place that appreciates that part of the student athletes.
Yeah, and I, you know, at Rutgers, like some of my hard classes, like econometrics, I don't think I would have even passed without tutors, but it was really cool to have those resources like available, and it certainly helps make learning a lot more manageable with the strain and playing Division I. But yeah, like you said, and I felt the same way. Like, we started to get some of those little things back then, and now it's like a whole nother level. Even when I was like coaching at Harvard, I felt like they got a lot, and they probably get a lot more now, but it's crazy. Like, and Georgetown is so academic focused. Like, they don't necessarily, and Harvard was the same way. Like, the Harvard kids didn't get any special permissions that the regular students don't. Like, they made it a little tough to do like makeup tests, you know, for the kids, and they had to really dip and dive around the sports schedule to make academics the top priority. And I do think there's definitely a lot of value in that too, right? It really teaches the kids that school comes first, and I'm a huge fan of that. But it is really nice to have some of those resources and luxuries that make learning a lot easier, really, when you're grinding it out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, school does come first, and but just having more resources. Like, when I was at Georgetown, we only had one counselor who could help us pick classes for all student athletes outside of basketball. Like, I think at Ohio State we had our like academic scheduler. I think he only had a couple teams, so he wasn't spread so thin. It's crazy how much the landscape's changed, but I do think athletes do deserve help. Like, I like the way it's going. I mean, athletes do deserve help with picking classes, moving through conflict with travel and all that stuff, and yeah, because you are spending a lot of time and efforts at your sport. So it's nice to have help and to know that you're supported, that the school cares about you. So
yeah, it certainly makes being successful a lot more manageable.
Yeah.
And then one thing I wanted to pop in question, like, what was your favorite part about competing at the D1 level? And then like, what's one thing you would tell kids who like think it's a D1 or bust? Like, what's your buyer beware like about playing D1?
Ooh, that's a great question, man. That's a really good question. I think my favorite part of playing Division I lacrosse was playing against teams that I like grew up watching all the time, playing in venues that I like really, really had a lot of reverence for. Like I got to play in the Big House, the Horseshoe,
Yeah.
the Carrier Dome. I got to play Hopkins, Penn State, Notre Dame, like schools that I had a lot of schools and programs I had a lot of respect for. Being on the same field, and it was just really cool experience. You're playing the highest level, and I was fortunate. Both Georgetown and Ohio State, we played really competitive schedules. We played top 20, top 5 schools every year, so it was cool to go against those guys. One thing about that I think high school players don't really understand about playing Division I is it's a lot of time, but you're not like on the field as much as you think.
No.
It's mostly like bus trips, meetings, preparation, film, workouts, like off-season stuff, community service. Like you're doing so much more, and so there's a lot that goes into it. So if you don't like being with those guys or in that school as like a regular student, like it might not be the best fit, because you're spending more time there as it's like a regular guy student than a lacrosse player. But yeah, I mean, I always tell kids to, walk around campus, like get to know people outside of the team. Like you never know when you get really burnt out from a long week of preseason, and you just want to hang out with your buddies from your freshman dorm, not your buddies on the football team or your buddies on the, soccer team. Like it's good to go to a school where you're able to do all those other things outside of lacrosse, get an escape, so to speak.
Yeah, I think branching out is really important. And I tell a lot of my kids who are like, it's D1 or bust. Like, I got to go D1. I'm like, well, if you really feel that way, you better be prepared, like, to treat it like a job, because that's what it is when you get there. And like, you don't get to enjoy a lot of the same social liberties that your classmates do. Like, I had friends just like you in the dorms on other teams, right? And like, some of my boys from the dorms like got to go abroad for a semester, and like, that's not in the card. No, that's not in the cards when you're a D1 athlete, right? Like you don't get to go out on any Friday night during the season, right? You're going to have Sunday games and Tuesday games, and you're going to have to try to find ways to sleep when people are loud around you in whatever environment you're in. There's a lot of challenges, and it's, you do get the full college experience, but you're not having the same type of fun that everyone else gets to enjoy. And you got to be, I think, more of an adult than your age suggests when you get there.
You got to be okay with sacrificing and having a little more structure. And a lot of guys who play competitive high school lacrosse, they like the structure anyway. Like I remember when we had exams and you don't have any practice, you just have like one lift. I didn't know what to do with myself. I think I would just, probably take like a long nap, or like you don't know what to do without the like. But kids, when it comes to D1, D2, or D3, like it comes down to a decision with them and their families. I think there's so many opportunities to play college lacrosse. Don't be the guy who's like, I have to play Division I. Go where is a good fit for you academically, socially. I think a really cool thing about a lot of Division II and III schools is that the enrollment is a lot smaller. Now, a lot of kids who grow up in city suburbs and they have high schools of 4,000 kids, they don't want to go play at, Limestone's a perfect example. It has like 2,000 students, but those kids, they all know each other and they love being there. And it's like mostly athletes. So just something to take into account. The enrollment size, like, is your school competitive? Do you have a path with the conference tournament? Like that kind of stuff. It's all, don't sleep on D2, D3, man. There's some good ball there and they got really good.
No doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and then our last thing, our bonus question. You got any questions for me that you think would be valuable based on our chat today for the audience?
Yeah, let me think. What is something about owning Face Off Factory that is, to the outside person, is more work than they would think? What are some of the tedious tasks?
Yeah, like the biggest thing for me, and we have employees in several different states. It's all the state compliance stuff, right? And most people don't think about that when they start a business, and how to be I've learned over the years the hard way how to be strategic and stay on top of that stuff. But, having employees all over the country definitely makes it challenging. It's something that I continue to learn about, and each state has different requirements, different laws. And knowing exactly how to stay compliant without paying for expensive HR packages is something that's certainly tedious. It's something that's never going to end. And it's something people probably never even think about when they're like, oh, you're the owner of Face Off Factory, you're the founder. I'm like, yeah, trust me. There's some stuff you got to deal with that you probably wouldn't want to on a pretty regular basis. So I would say that's like, it's a manageable challenge, but it's something that always keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, no, it's there's more to it. I mean, we don't just sometimes we don't just show up and coach, right? There's things with coordination, plan, field booking, all that stuff. So, it's you do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. It's appreciated. So, but yeah, what are you excited for coming up?
I'm excited for everything coming up. I get fired up. I got the South Shore session tonight. We run 4 to 5 sessions a week here in Massachusetts. I stay fired up. I mean, we stay pretty busy. We got a huge slate, like you mentioned, with the national events this summer. We got 4 overnight camps, another recruiting event. We're doing development days, tune-ups. We're trying to pop into tournaments. Up here, we work with college and high school programs on the reg too, like during the day. So we stay pretty busy. It keeps things certainly interesting for me. I'm excited to keep being a part of it all. And I'm fired up that you were able to make some time to join us today. I think we had a pretty cool chat, and I hope you guys feel like you got a lot out of it and learned some of the things that Coach May and I think are really important to being a great lacrosse player first.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasure, Joe. I appreciate the invite, man. And it was, it's been fun, man. Looking forward to seeing you on the field this summer, dude. It's been great. Been a great experience working with Face Off Factory. So love it, man.
We appreciate you, my friend, and I'll see you in a few short months.
Yes, sir. Talk soon, brother.
Hey guys, Coach Nardella here. My tip of the week is if you're trying to figure out the timing of a certain official, have your teammate, backup goalie, other face-off guy count how many steps he's taking back before he blows the whistle. This is a great way to kind of get into your rhythm, to practice on the sideline during a game, and to be best prepared when you go out there to dominate.